In this episode of The Novice Lumberjack, Peter Frampton comes alive.
And now, once again, Mr. Peter Frampton.
Okay, guys, you remember this fella? This is Peter Frampton. That's right. Peter Frampton with the Muffler mod that was a disappointment. I just ran this saw. Let's see if I can touch it. Yeah, it's cooled off enough. With this completely stocked, completely stopped up muffler. After the test that I did, shoot, it's been a long time ago now. Been a long time ago. So I took one of these mufflers, the one that came on Peter Frampton here. This is a 4620 AV, right? And that, yeah, AVX. Ooh, X. Okay. So I took that muffler, which was exactly like this. I cut the seam. Actually, you know what? Just look for the video. And I'll try and remember to put a link somewhere like right here or something. I don't know. Anyways, I cut this open, ripped out all the guts, put on that pipe, and that pipe right there is, I believe, 5/8. 5/8 of an inch pipe sticking out of there. And what I found, it felt more powerful. However, the sound can really get you sometimes. And it actually went slower than the stock one. But here's the deal. There was most definitely a tad bit of debate, conspiracy theory going on, because the log that I was using, you know what? I'll just go ahead and do a full video on this, and I'll add that stuff in there, and you'll be able to see. The log that I was using for that test was far from perfect. There were some knots. It was getting bigger as I was cutting. And so some people had mentioned that it was very possible that my saw was actually faster with the Muffler mod. The problem was the log got bigger. Well, here we go now. Before I do anything else to this Muffler mod, as far as, like changing it and making it better, because a lot of people thought that maybe that 5/8 pipe was too big, it was too much of a hole. And so the thought is to put a smaller pipe on there, and you'd get better gains. Well, before I do anything like that, I am going to now revert this back exactly as it was whenever I did the original test with the Muffler mod right there. All that paint that I painted, the red paint, it comes off immediately. Even high temp paint, it don't work. But it looks good in a thumbnail, so I'll probably paint this one again. Makes people click on it, Anyways, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this into that same pine log, which that one's a really good one. It's really, really good size. I will bring my screwdriver and tune this a little bit if I need to. I'm going to tune it the same way that I normally do, which is as best that I can. Before it was tuned as best as I can. Could somebody out there tune it better than me? Quite possibly. All right. Quite likely. Anyway, so I'm going to tune it as best as I can. And we're going to get some good runs in. And then we will see if this pipe actually brings more power or you lose power. And then I'll adjust with the video from there. And I'll, if it doesn't make as much power, and even if it's just like close, I'm probably going to go ahead and put a smaller pipe inside there that actually goes down inside a little bit further, about an inch and a half into the muffler. We'll see how that works. All I can do is try and hang in there. Like it's got a ton more power. Last time I did this, it felt better, faster, stronger. And the results, what it yielded was it actually slowed down in the cut. So I am not going to make actual predictions, but do I feel like it's faster? Heck yes, I feel like it's faster. And I gotta say, even if it's just close, I'm probably still going to leave it like this because I plan on porting this saw. And once I port it and get extra flow going on, I'll probably do something with the air filter as well and get extra flow. It'll need that bigger hole. So even if it's just barely close, it's probably worth it just to stick with it. But we all want to know what it actually did. So here we go. Side-by-side comparison. Stock versus modified muffler that's been gutted and has a 5/8 inch pipe sticking out of it. Let's see how it does.
Come on, let's do it again.
Okay, guys. Feeling good about this one. You know, I too had my doubts of whether or not the muffler mod failed. It's good to see that it did not. I know there's a lot of people out there that thinks that this stuff doesn't work. They think that you lose torque. They think all kinds of stuff. Here's the one that kind of sort of gets to me is whenever people say things along the lines of, yeah, I can't believe that you think that you can do it better than a team of engineers that designed the thing. People have been modifying engines since they were first created. It is our nature to do so, to try and get more performance. And it just kills me how there are a lot of people who truly think, I mean, they're legit about this. They think that the modifications are all hooey patooey. They're like, no, yeah, like you can do it better than a team of engineers. Yes. I just did. But the dealio is, hey, this thing has been improved by a muffler mod. We have just proven it, and we know, based on, the fact that we have common sense, we know that that this will actually improve the life of this saw because you can actually get the heat out of the exhaust. Before, that heat was trapped in there because what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a secondary burn. That's why these catalytic, as if they're not even catalytic mufflers, but they're trying, right? But what they're doing is they try and get this muffler so dang hot that it continues to burn the unspent fuels that come out of the saws before it's released to the atmosphere. That catalytic muffler causes a lot of heat problems with your actual cylinder. And so, and the saws were designed to run lean and everything. Well, we've just taken all that away, and now we have a conventional saw. It's great. So, and it did give us a performance gain, probably as much as 5 to 10%, especially on that tug up. On that tug up, man. Or not the tug up, the vice grip where I locked the dogs in and was digging it. It beat the stock very badly, So now that I've got that done, I'm very happy that really worked out well because I didn't want to do anything else with this exhaust. Like, let's say it didn't do so well and I made that smaller. Well, then I'm shooting myself in the foot by making that smaller because even though it may have helped in the moment, I know that in the future I will port and polish this saw. And therefore I would need the larger exhaust port anyways. So at this point, I can sit here And I can tell you with certainty, it makes a difference. Do your muffler mod. Don't be afraid of a 5/8 inch pipe. And don't ask me to do a 1/2 inch and try it. Please. There's only so much I can do, guys. So, yeah, Peter Frampton here. So why do I call Peter Frampton my Poulan Pro 4620 AVX, whatever the heck the X stands for? I know AV stands for anti-vibration. But anyways, the whole point of naming him Peter Frampton, it's not like I'm a big Peter Frampton fan. Yeah, he had some good songs. I listen to him like everybody else, you know. But what it is whenever I did this muffler mod, I was so stoked. I was like, man, it came alive. And it just popped in my head like Frampton, like Peter Frampton, because he did an album called Frampton Comes Alive. And at this point, you've probably figured it out. We have, at the green screen behind me, I've got images of Peter Frampton himself. I especially like the name because although I've never met him in real life, he appears to be a pretty little guy, you know, especially way back whenever he was younger and he was performing, why don't you show me the way every day? I want you. I want you. Yeah, I'm not a singer. So, anyways, yeah, he was a real little guy. Hence, a little guy. And Peter Frampton. Frampton Comes Alive. I am really looking forward to him really, really coming alive whenever I port and polish. And whenever I do that, I'll go ahead and do some intake modifications, even if it's just as simple as cutting holes right here. But, you know, we got it breathing good out this end. We need to make it breathe good this here, right with this. And we need to port and polish it. And if you're out there wondering why I'm doing such a thing, why I care about this little saw, well, there are two reasons. One, I like it. Period. There doesn't need to be anything else. I enjoy running it. It's good to have a tiny little saw to fire up for tiny little jobs. I like it. There we go. It was given to me. I have nothing in it, and it's great. And here's the second reason. This thing is surprisingly good. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying it's a powerhouse, and it probably never will be a powerhouse, but this thing always starts. All I had to do to it was the very typical stuff, you know, the fuel lines. You know, fuel lines, rebuild the carburetor. It had very minimal usage. Probably got used for one small job and then put away. And that, just like all the other cheap Poulans, you know, they're like, let's just get the cheap one and it'll run and I'll be able to take care of what I need to. So anyways, I like it. And it's surprisingly good. This thing is it just as good as a Husky 435 or 440? No, I don't think so. I've owned a 435 and that's a really great saw for just a little homeowner saw. I don't think this is that good. It definitely doesn't feel as good and as solid. But is it as good as the Steel MS-170 or what, MS-180? It's better. It's better. I've had a few of those, and they're just homeowner grade saws. I'm not talking bad about them. They have their uses, absolutely. But they're not as good as this saw is. And you can buy this saw no problem for $60 on Amazon Marketplace or Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever you got going on. You find this stuff all the time. And it's a good little saw. It's a really good little saw. Whenever the guy that gave it to me, he bought my Jeep from me. Whenever he showed up, he's like, you know, we kind of made friends, you know. And he's like, I'll bring you a chainsaw. You know, I think it's a Poulan. And I knew exactly, you know, I was like, it's one of the plastic Poulans. And I just didn't have the heart to tell him, I don't want that crap, you know. And he shows up with it, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I get it running. It's a good little saw. I mean, nothing wrong with it. I don't agree that you should run a 20-inch bar on it. That's what the 20 stands for, is, you know, the 4620. 46 cc's running a 20-inch bar. You can, and, you know, if you're not cutting anything bigger than that, you know, a 20-inch bar doesn't make any real difference. But what I find, if you're running a 20-inch bar, you tend to try and use all 20 inches and you try and cut something that big. And that's when a saw like this really goes, I ain't having it. Anyways, long video of me rambling, but I'm happy. It's good. I finally came back to this. I hope that my viewers out there that ask me about when you're going to revisit it, I'm going to revisit it. I tell you, I promise. Well, here it is. The Poulan Pro 4620 AVX Muffler Mod Revisited. Frampton is alive.